If you come out of school and your strength is writing code, that's going to be a little harder to find, roles. I can tell you hands down, when I was hiring all the people that worked for me, never once did I focus on, oh, you have your PhD here. When you have your degree and you want something that is immediately marketable, having data science means that they know that you will have been given business use cases where you had to apply data science to solve them. And that is invaluable when you come out and you're looking for a job.
Joining us today is Laura, the former chief data scientist at Microsoft. Thank you for joining us at the University of Chicago.
I think there's a lot changing with generative AI when it comes to, the build of product. There's a lot that still needs human in the loop, but I think diversifying your skills so that you have both CS plus data or CS plus fill in the like IoT or hardware or device, you need something to augment my belief to where everything's going in today's day and age. If you come out of school and your strength is writing code, that's going to be a little harder to find, roles because there's a lot. And, with generative, there's a lot of that too. So you want to always augment CS plus something else so that you have that diversified skill set. And I think data is one of those great ones where right now there isn't a solution that, you can rely on, a generative model to resolve. They need that human still today. Maybe you'll write, the app that does solve for that, but, having that CS plus, like I went back and went and got CS. So it's CS plus for me, data science plus algorithms plus, and just always having that plus so that it gives you that holistic. And if I had to recommend what I think you should do, it's hardware. That hardware plus, like look at the NVIDIA, so and what they're doing with chips and why they were ahead of the curve. They had some very smart data scientists that really read the market early. Intel failed to see this as a demand that could be there. And NVIDIA was able to then, catapult themselves into the place where they are today by being early to market. And that's because those data scientists had a CS plus hardware background.
Considering specializing in data science for my degree?
100%, it is better than specializing in AI. And those that maybe are specialized in AI, I don't mean to put that down. But what data science gives you is a much broader view. And so you will end up learning not just about a specific functional area of today, although that's important. But data science, you will be introduced to AI as a concept as well, but you will also learn what algorithms, what they do, what they mean, and how they work in a business sense. Because I can tell you hands down, when I was hiring all the people that worked for me, never once did I focus on, oh, you have your PhD here, because I wasn't running a research team. If I was running a research team, that's different. But when it comes to when you have your degree and you want something that is immediately marketable, having data science means that they know that you will have been given business use cases where you had to apply data science to solve them. And that is invaluable when you come out and you're looking for a job, because people want to know whether you go into healthcare, whether you go into technology, whatever industry it might be, that you can take a business problem and translate it into a model, an algorithm, and approach. If you cannot do that at a business level, then there's no value to that company. And so Myra, I think it's fantastic you're doing data science. And I would really lean into those courses in data science where they give you that industry lens to overlay. So you start to get a sense of, oh, here's the problems that they're facing in manufacturing or retail or healthcare. It'll also give you a sense of maybe where you want to work as you then come out of your degree and which avenue you should go to. You may know you already want to go to tech, or you may want to go to health informatics or whatever it may be. But data science will expose you to a lot of that.
What would you say is the next thing in AI or data science?
Absolutely. Let's see, 3-4 years ago, as I started, evolving, what everybody is, terming now as LLMs, or the large language models, I started talking about the idea of that's great. It's trained on the corpus of the internet. Fantastic. But the reality is the true value is going to come in with small language models that are custom built, that are domain and context aware, all the way down to maybe I'm a bread maker and I make, sourdough bread in San Francisco. They should have an SLM that is very specific to their business model for them. And so I believe where we're going is we're going to have these very personalized SLMs, or at least that's what the smart companies in the startup world should be doing, that are very specific to solving a problem. These general sets right now, everyone's talking about it works, but it's failing, or, we're not really getting what we want out of it. In fact, I have a partner who it literally talks about chatting with ChatGPT as though it's their girlfriend, and they have these arguments. And the reality is that, these models are very good at doing a very strong set of things, but those things are not, unilaterally universal. And so by creating these smaller, context-aware, very domain-specific, meaning I can create one, as I just created for my partner, who's an author, who's written several books. I created a manuscript, sort of voice of Brian. So I took in all of his drafts that he wrote as he was writing the books, all of the final edited versions, so that I could train a model up around the voice of Brian. So now as he needs to then augment and write his next books, he's not just going out to one of, Claude 3.7 Sonnet and asking it to write the book for him, but he's actually using it based off of a corpus of his own work. So now he's just asking the model to augment using his voice, and then he can edit it. Or you can do it in reverse if you already have that content. You couldn't do that using today's state of an LLM. And so I think the future is going to prove out having these smaller SLMs that are very personalized and very specific to a functional task.
Wow, that's very beautiful to hear. And I'll ask one last question and open up the floor. So to become a accomplished data science leader as you, what would you recommend the undergrad students to learn on their side time, or any project you recommend?
There's a few things I would absolutely recommend. One is go out onto LinkedIn and just find somebody that either, they look interesting, or you see their picture and you see their description of stuff they've done and you're like, wow, I love those companies. And just, cold reach out to them and ask, hey, would you mentor me? I had a 16-year-old woman who reached out to me at the time. She had never done data science, but she had a very personal situation that drove her to want to model that situation, and she needed help. And she reached out to executives at Facebook, at Twitter, at a whole host of companies, and she got ignored. But by the time she got to me, and I was maybe her sixth reach out, I was absolutely intrigued, and I've since mentored her. I just wrote her recommendation as she's now going into graduate school at Harvard. And, she just took a chance, and I was super impressed by the fact that she was willing to do that. And so, of course, I'm going to give her my time. So number one, I would reach out and find a mentor that is working either in a company or a space that you want to get into, so you can figure out a day-to-day. Do I like this? In hindsight, I now know I would have hated working at NASA because, one, there's all sorts of bureaucracy. Two, by the time you get to build that thing that gets launched, you fought through the amount of red tape and the amount of, layoffs and budget cuts and constraints that I don't want to deal with. And in tech, I don't have to deal with. And if I would have had that mentor who worked there, my uncle never gave me that kind of time, I would have better known that. So that's number one. Number two, I would absolutely, on your side time, build a model that you love. So for example, prior to all this football analytics and statistics that are out there, I built the fantasy football model at least 10 years ago to predict. I don't know anything about football, or didn't at the time. And I was in a PPR league. My partner's dad said, you can't, play fantasy with stats. And I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. And the gauntlet was thrown. And I have since, yes, year one, it was training, so it didn't do so well. By year two onwards, I have continued to win my league. And now that there's betting and stuff in North Carolina, I've made money off of it. And so that was just something I did as a side project, mostly to pipe my partner's father down from his whole, you can't use stats, but it's something I did on the side, and it helped enhance my skills. And so I always recommend go out there and find maybe a Kaggle project that sounds interesting, or a GitHub project. My GitHub alone, I think I have 263 different repositories. I mean, my fantasy football models out there, all the way to a golf PGA to Final Four. I've got a ton of stuff out there, and just find something that is maybe what you love to do socially or personally and model it.
Wow, how to find your GitHub?
I will put, it's Annielytics, ANNIELYTIX. I'll put it in the chat.
All right, I'll take notes. Let me give a round of applause.
It's not necessary, but thank you. If you come out of school and your strength is writing code, that's going to be a little harder to find, roles. I can tell you hands down, when I was hiring all the people that worked for me, never once did I focus on, oh, you have your PhD here. When you have your degree and you want something that is immediately marketable, having data science means that they know that you will have been given business use cases where you had to apply data science to solve them. And that is invaluable when you come out and you're looking for a job.